Hey, y'all, hey! Welcome to the PowerWomen podcast. This is the show where powerful women share their journeys, discuss how to solve powerful issues, and the power men who help us rise. I'm your host, Power Mom, Claire Brown.
And I have 3 daughters.
Right.
So I tell them every single day, all 3 of them, that I love you and you are enough. And they probably get sick of me telling them that, but it is so important that I build their self-esteem up. I don't ever want them to be in a situation because the statistics are they are going to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And I need them to be able to pick up the phone and call me and say, Mom, something doesn't feel right, or Mom, something happened. So I can probably go and kill that person, but don't want to do that. But we don't want to get there.
Right. Right.
But that's the rage that I would feel if something happened to my children. But no, just building their self-esteem up. I think that all of my children play sports, and I think for girls, it's very, very important to do that because it builds strong, not just you physically, but strong minds. I'm doing my best. I know it's not everything, but I'm doing my best to build strong young ladies.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to be foolproof.
Right.
But we have open communication. See, I didn't have that with my mom and dad. I was nervous to tell them things because I felt shamed about it. I didn't feel like they were going. I thought really they were going, well, why do you keep going back there? When I just thought they were going to blame me.
Right.
And I couldn't take that on.
No.
I couldn't take that on.
Well, and they also weren't physically present with you.
Well, no, they were here.
Right.
They were here, but I communicated with them at least 3 times a week. I mean, it's not like I cut my parents off and I came home every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, all the holidays and summertime and things like that. So I was involved with my family and in communication with them, but this I couldn't share with them. I acted like everything was okay.
Sure.
I did not want to tell them that something was bad happening to me because then in their eyes I felt like it was, oh, she's failing. She's failing without us. And my dad particularly, he would always ask, because I wasn't calling him asking for money.
Oh.
So how are you doing with money? And of course, Jeffrey was helping me financially during this time. And so, my dad was questioning, how was I making so much money or in taking care of everything that I was taking care of? Yes. And so he never knew. I finally eventually told him on his deathbed. He had ALS, as you know. So in 2015, he was at the VA and we had a scheduled date to take out his trach. So during that time, I said, Dad, I need to tell you something. And he just took my hand. Well, I took his hand because he couldn't move. I took his hand. He just said, I'm, sorry I couldn't protect you. Oh. And that was so, like he wasn't, for me, that's what I needed to hear from my daddy because I felt like he was going to be upset with me and blame me. And the sad part is many of our survivor sisters that I've talked to, a lot of their family members, when they went public or when they went to tell their family what happened, they disown them. They don't talk to them. Yes. And I can't fathom that because my dad was supportive, and hit the end, and my mother is supportive. My mother tells me how proud she is. And I realize that some of my other survivor sisters, they don't have that.
Yeah.
And that makes me incredibly sad.
Right.
Because part of coming out is you want that support from your community.
Right.
You want to have that. But yeah, some family members are not very supportive.
Charlene, how's your family with all of this?
My mom has been really supportive. My kids are proud of me. I have 4 kids. And I have 2 daughters and 2 boys. However, I have had some people that have fallen away, people that I didn't expect, some friends, and a couple of family members that have just been like, they just don't understand it. And when they go on my Instagram, they see a lot of Epstein, I guess, because that's kind of my advocacy right now. And they don't really understand it. So it goes both ways. It's disappointing because you really need that support more than ever. And when you just don't get it, it's almost shocking. Like, what do you mean? I'm trying to make the world a better place. Like, why aren't you supporting this?
I want to go back to what you've said about grooming, because I think that's where it starts.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to pay attention. Because if we can recognize that, we can eliminate so much more.
Yes. So grooming can happen everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I say everywhere, because recently I was in New York and a senator asked me about grooming, and I really couldn't, I was kind of triggered when he asked me about it, but I want to go into more detail today.
Okay.
So grooming can happen at places of work, at churches, at schools, basically anywhere and everywhere. And it's hard to notice. I'm going to tell you why. Because you think it's somebody, they're going to be very manipulative. You're going to think it's somebody that's being supportive, being kind. You may go home and say, Mom, I met this great, coach, and gosh, he's really helping me and everything. So it's really difficult to spot. But I'll say this, for my situation, I was very vulnerable with Jeffrey's girlfriend and told her a lot of intimate details about my life and before I met Jeffrey. And then she shared details about her life. So we felt...
You felt the trust.
I felt the trust. So I told her more and more things that I've never told anybody, especially someone I kind of just met, didn't know very well. And then we built that rapport. And she's very smart, very educated, very connected. So I trusted her. And she's a woman.
Right.
So, I look back on it and I'm like, this woman is evil, because for her to do this to many other women and recruit so many other women, and she's a woman herself.
I want to, that word is bothering me, because you weren't women. You were children.
Well, there was children she recruited. I was a young woman.
Yes.
But there were children.
Yeah.
And the young ladies that I was with recently in Albany, all of them were minors.
Yeah.
All of them were minors.
And when you say minors, what age ranges?
They were children. They were 14, 16, and 17.
Yeah.
So they were children.
Yeah.
Yes, they were children.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have to, let's not sugarcoat it. They are children.
Right.
Because they say minors, but they were children. And even though, that was another reason why I was so shamed, because I was like, I was an adult. I should have known better.
Sure.
I was an adult. And so I told myself all these years, like, just got to move on. This happened to you. You're to blame because you could have just left. And I could have. But I was living in extreme fear of retribution, fear of these videos coming out.
Right.
When I met Jeffrey, I had a boyfriend too, and he knew about it. I told him, and he was very intrigued about that. And he would ask, he was always perverted, so he wanted to know about sex and with my boyfriend and those kind of things. So the fact that he knew who my boyfriend was, I was really afraid about that. Michelle, him sending the photos and the videos to him. And he was a well-known football player for the New York Giants. So I was living in fear,
right?
And that's not a good place to be.
No,
it was a very chaotic place. On the outside, I'm sure people were like, "Oh, she's living such a glamorous life," but it was inside. I'm looking over my shoulder all the time, and that was a really, really tough part right there.
And how often were you asked to do things?
Often, but there was many times where I was unavailable, out of town, working. I would sometimes make up excuses.
Sure.
But often, at least twice a month.
Yeah,
at least twice a month. And and I was asked to go to the island, and I never went. But I was asked several times to do that. But with Jeffrey, everybody is, I think he knew he dealt with people differently, depending on who it was
Yeah.
and what he was trying to get out of them.
Mm.
And for me, he really kept me to himself. He didn't ask me to recruit other people.
Mm.
I know many of the girls he did.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have done that. And maybe that's why he didn't ask me.
Mhm.
I wasn't going to go out and recruit people.
Right.
That didn't feel right.
Mhm.
But he never asked me.
Right.
So he knew.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sharlene, are you comfortable sharing what your grooming looked like?
Well, I think that it is the typical grooming way that everything happened. And I feel like it's so typical for every man to act in a certain way. Like there's steps, and there's steps that young people should really look for. Like they say, like, oh, you seem so much older for your age. So it's called adultification, where they adultify you and they make you feel like you are special and like you're so different from other girls. And so by making you feel special by flattering you, it actually, then they start to isolate you. And so, like Laura said, like she felt like, he kept her for herself. Like that is so typical of this grooming technique. Like we all felt special. We all felt like, we are here for you. And then all of a sudden it becomes like, well, maybe I should make this a secret or something. So it starts with flattery, isolation, and then secrecy. Like, well, again, like he took videos, or another person could say, well, I know your parents. I'm going to tell them that you're doing these adult things with me. So there's so many things that people and young people need to look out for. And then there's the emotional manipulation, which goes along with like blaming. Well, you did this, and if you did this, then I'm going to tell this. Or, maybe you're kind of doing things that are above your age that you're not supposed to be doing sexually. So I'm going to blame you and make that your fault because you did it, when really you're being manipulated in your mind. And they want you to feel this way. They want you to feel shame. They want you to feel like this is all your fault, so that you don't go and say something to authorities, police, or your parents, to somebody who could possibly do that. So then that brings in the blame shifting. So it's like, it's not their fault. All of a sudden, it's your fault. And so it's like boundary testing in small doses. Like I'm going to test you a little bit here and see how far I can take you. And then I'm going to reel it in a little bit. Oh, but then I'm going to do something else. It's a manipulation technique that all of these abusers use. And it's literally to break you down, to make you feel like you're nothing, to make you feel like, oh, I can't go say anything because it's all my fault. And I felt like it was all my fault until honestly, not too long ago. I literally thought that everything was my fault until I would say right before our public service announcement last year. Now, I have 4 children. All of these years, 30 years, I thought it was my fault. So, because I just thought like I was young, traveling, trying to survive. This is how the world is. This is not how the world is. These are manipulation tactics. It's cohesive control. It's grooming. And the secrecy is framed as like trust, right? And then I felt responsible. But really, the shame shouldn't have been on me all these years. The shame should have been on the abusers.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what you've honed in on is the isolation piece.
Mm-hmm.
And that is huge in all types of grooming, because many times children will be told like, no one's going to love you the way I do. No one's going to provide for you the way that I can. Just like you're not going to be able to live this lifestyle any other way.
Yeah.
To maintain what you've come to love, or to achieve the dreams that you've sought out to have. That all this is going to go away, all these things. And it isolates you from everyone else so that you keep quiet. And that's a huge piece of this, and relatable in any other type of grooming, whether it's in the modeling world or in any other type of world that children and persons experience. And I think is really important for parents to hear. So if they find anybody in their spaces that are trying to isolate their child from them, it is a form of grooming. And that is really important to pay attention to.
Yes.
And it's hard for parents to even recognize this because it's formed in a way that we're giving you an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give your child an opportunity for this job, but they have to come with me. So it's really important for parents to ask all of the questions. Well, how are you going to get there? Who's paying for it? What do you have to do because they're paying for
I'm going
it?
with you.
All the questions that you don't think you should ask.
Right.
Like you need to know everything. Absolutely
I'm going with
everything.
you.
Just
You're
ask
not
your
going by
child.
yourself.
Like if they might
Yes.
you might help save a life. You might help save somebody.
Yeah.
And I say like this is a lifelong sentence. Honestly, this is a lifelong sentence that we have been abused. We've been abused as children, and I'm still dealing with it to this day. I'm still grappling so many things that I don't understand. And one of the things that's really helped me actually is Lara, because and the other survivor sisters, like I love these girls with all my heart. They are now my family.
Yeah.
I couldn't thank Lara enough for just like being who she is. She's an amazing woman. And all of the girls are amazing in their own special way. And without them, we learn from each other. We're still learning. I'm still learning every single day what happened to me. Not in the fact that I don't know what my story is, but in the fact that I didn't really understand what grooming was. I didn't understand that I was being manipulated when I was and how that happened. So I really just feel like it's so important for parents to learn red flags, children to learn red flags, children to learn manipulation. Who's manipulating me? What is a narcissist? A narcissist love bombs. That's kind of the same thing where it's like, I love you. Oh, you are amazing. And somebody tells you that in the first 2 weeks, run the opposite direction because you can't love somebody that fast.
Right.
And it's probably a manipulation tactic. So all of these things are so important to learn for kids these days.
Right. The other thing we've talked about is the amount of shame.
Yes.
And
So much.
so much.
So much.
And
Yes.
I know as being a survivor of sexual assault twice over what that feels like.
Yeah.
And it is so heavy and it is so hard to overcome that. And we do. And that's also one of the reasons we don't report. Because we carry that shame and we self-blame so much. And why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? When 81% of women are sexually assaulted or sexually harassed every year. And then out of every 1,000, only 50 are reported. And then out of those 50, only 20% of those are prosecuted. And so what that shows you is those that do walk through that shame with the courage, that they are still not seen, heard, or believed enough for someone to do something about it. And so we do hear that narrative from others in society, and then we talk ourselves right out of it and continue to live in that shame. Instead of empowering ourselves through it, of saying, you know what, no, I said no, and I never asked for it. It is not mine to carry. And so once again, I can't thank you enough for standing in your power of who you are instead of allowing the power of someone else to continue to control the narrative.
Yes, I'd like to say this. So there is a lot to say about shame.
Yeah.
There's so much to say, but I protected my perpetrator.
Yeah.
I protected him. I was worried about him getting in trouble too. I think that's very important to mention. I struggled with that because it is like the, the Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
Like And so I struggled with, when I did feel like I needed to do something, but I was worried about what's going to happen to him, if they, actually do something about it.
Right.
But I protected him. And, living with that shame, once I spoke back in November of 25 last year, I've taken that shame away.
Right.
And to anybody that's going through domestic abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, it's not for you to carry.
No.
It is not for you to carry. And I hope through our advocacy that we're doing, me and my survivor sisters, that we're able to help change the landscape of sexual abuse, domestic abuse, and reporting.
Right.
And what happens when it's reported.
Right.
Because those statistics that you just named, that is sad. It's sad. So it's what it's saying to our young girls and young boys, like, if you go report it, more than half the time, nothing's going to happen to you. And so that really doesn't make you feel good any better. So you're like, well, why should I do this? Because when you do report it, you are now repeating your story over and over again.
Right.
Over and over again to different people, to different strangers.
Right. And what it is.
And that's traumatizing again. So by our work, I hope that people can speak up, tell someone that you trust, that you love, that can do something about it.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review on iTunes and check out our website, thepowerwomen.org.